Hi, I'm Kurt with Infinity Cutting Tools, and today I'm going to talk to you about Infinity Cutting Tools 2-piece rail and stile bit set. The rail and stile bit set is the perfect way to make great cabinet doors for all of your projects. So let me show you how we go about setting them up using both the included setup block or without. The first thing you need to determine when you're setting up one of these joints is whether you want to cut your cope first or your profile first. I'm going to cut my cope first. The reason for this is because I don't want to have to deal with making a profiled backer block for when I run my copes through. With having the cope cut first, we're going to run the profile. We can have a square backer block to ease out any sort of blowout we get, and then when we run our profile through anyway, we're going to take care of a lot of that as well. Now, the coping bit is going to be the one that has the bearing in the center. The bearing in the center is where the tongue is going to run. So that will run against it. The sticking bit will have the 3-wing slot cutter between the bearing and the profile. And that gives us our groove for our panel. So let me go ahead and set this up and I'll show you how we do it. With the coping bit installed, we need to next raise or lower the router bit until it matches either our setup block or the marks that we make on our test piece. Now, I like to use a coping sled. It provides a lot more safety and control when I'm running my piece through. So laying our setup block face down, we'll simply raise or lower the bit until it passes cleanly through. Now, if you're not using the setup block, you'll simply make a mark on the board and you'll raise or lower the bit until it makes that mark. And what we're basically looking to do, I'm going for a 3/16 back tongue because it's a 7/8 inch thick piece. So we're looking to create that rabbet there right around 3/16. So I'll simply raise the slot cutter until I'm taking out that mark. Next, we want to make sure that the bearing on the coping bit is even with our fence. So using a straight edge, place it on the bearing, and we want it to just barely kiss it and move it. What we don't want is any sort of rocking. Now, I've got a little bit of a rock here, so I'm going to move my fence slightly out, retighten it, and that feels pretty good. For cutting the copes, I've got my rail inserted as well as a backer board. The backer board is going to stop any sort of the blowout that I might get on this. Make sure that your material is face down when you're going through the cope. Setting up the profile bit is going to be a very similar procedure to doing the cope. Here we're going to totally be using the table surface though. So with the setup block face down, simply slide it in and raise or lower your bit until it slides through cleanly. If you're not using the setup block, then you're going to want to match the slot cutter to the tongue on the already coped piece. So I need to raise it just a little bit until it feels very, very close. Again, we're going to make the bearing flush to the fence. We want basically a hair of kissing it and no rocking back and forth on our straight edge. When running the profile, make sure you're using push sticks and feather boards to help maintain even pressure against the table and the fence. Okay, it's time to check our test cut. They go together nice and easy. They're flush on the surface. There's no gap in the joint line, and they're flat on this table. We need to check the reverse as well. Again, flat on the table, flush, no gaps in the joint line. Now, to troubleshoot, If you're not flush, you're going to need to raise or lower the bit accordingly. And if there's a gap in the joint line, you're going to need to move the fence in or out. If it's not flush on the table, that's typically a problem in your joinery, and you may not have a flat edge that you were milling on. We hope you enjoyed our rail and style router bit setup tutorial. If you have any questions, please email us at customerservice@infinitytools.com. We'll do our best to help you.